Good evening. Welcome everyone on this awareness webinar. Thank you for joining us. I, Surbi Raghunath, welcome you all on behalf of Abdominal Cancer Trust on this awareness program on Abdominal Cancer Day. So when we talk about Abdominal Cancer Day, what is it and how it is started? It is an initiative to educate people about the early aspect and presentation of abdominal cancer. With this aim, Dr. Sandeep Jain founded Abdominal Cancer Day is the aim of spreading awareness and understanding on this disease. So, starting the session, I would like to invite our guest of honor, Dr. Sham Sundar Sharma, gastroenterologist, senior professor, SMS Medical College and Hospital.
I welcome you all on the occasion of World Abdominal Cancer Day. I especially congratulate Dr. Sandeep Jain for organizing this very important program. In fact, he started this World Abdominal Cancer Day on 19 June 2019. And over the last 3 years, there have been an increasing participation in this program from beginning till now. This program is mainly aimed at increasing the awareness of early detection and treatment of the abdominal cancer. As we all know, abdominal cancer ranks second among all the cancers throughout the world, and they are usually diagnosed at an advanced stage when cure is not possible. Minimal symptoms like bleeding per rectum, which most of the people ignore and think that it is because of hemorrhoids, they don't go for consultation and they do some local or self treatment. And these some of these patients may be having cancer rectum or cancer colon. Similarly, many other alarm symptoms like loss of weight, loss of appetite, decrease in blood hemoglobin, that is decrease in hemoglobin, if they are there, these symptoms should not be ignored. And a recent development of dyspepsia in a patient above 45 years of age should also be considered as a alarm symptom unless proved otherwise. So all these symptoms should be taken seriously by the most of the people, and they should consult their physician or consultant for detection of some serious lesion which may be curable at an early stage. So early detection is the main aim of this program. Many countries in the world, especially Japan, US and UK, there are many programs for early detection, especially in those patients who are at high risk, especially smokers, alcoholics, or where there is a family history of cancer. These people should be screened for early cancer, and if they are screened, some of the people may be diagnosed with early cancer, and cure is possible in these patients. Dr. Sandeep Jain has done a great job by creating this program, World Abdominal Cancer Day, and I hope this program will greatly benefit people throughout the world for making an awareness regarding early symptoms and treatment of abdominal cancer. I again welcome you all, and I wish a success to this program.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring and motivation to the viewers. Now, I would like to call our chief guest, Padma Shri Dr. Ashok Chakradhar. He's a renowned artist, poet, and scriptwriter. I welcome Dr. Ashok Chakradhar.
आप सभी को अशोक चक्रधर का नमस्कार और आपको बधाई डॉक्टर संदीप। आप जला रहे हैं बुझते हुए दीप। हमें मालूम है कि पिछले 15 साल से आप कर रहे हैं गैस्ट्रो इंटेस्टाइनल और बैरिएट्रिक सर्जरी, और 3 साल पहले आपने एक बहुत अच्छी पहल करी कि हर 19 मई को एब्डोमिनल कैंसर डे मना रहे हैं। इसके साथ ही पेट के कैंसर के प्रति जन जागृति का ऐप भी बना रहे हैं। आपने अंधकार को मिटाने का बीड़ा उठाया है। अपनी गतिविधियों के विस्तार के लिए एब्डोमिनल कैंसर ट्रस्ट भी बनाया है। हम जानते हैं कि पहले किसी को कैंसर होता था तो लोग सोचते थे कि ये बंदा अब चंद दिन का मेहमान है। कैंसर हो गया तो समझो मौत का फरमान है। लेकिन अब तो ऐसा नहीं है। रोगी भी यही हैं और सफल इलाज भी यही है। किंतु अज्ञान के कारण जिस कैंसर से सर्वाधिक नुकसान होता है वे पेट के होते हैं। असावधानी में बेशुमार लोग जीवन से हाथ धोते हैं। पेट जो होता है जीवन की धुरी, उसमें अगर चलती रहे दर्द की छुरी, कब्ज हो, पेट में अफारा हो, अपच हो और पीड़ा से नहीं छुटकारा हो, जैसे पेट के अंदर वहां की हरियाली में लोहे के पिंड के साथ कोई पत्थर की शिला हो और एक कसैली सी कसक का रह रह कर उठने वाला सिलसिला हो। अचानक वजन कम या ज्यादा होने लगे फिर भी कुछ खाया न जाए, दर्द पेट में कहाँ है बताया न जाए, कभी लगे जैसे अंदर कोई अदृश्य घाव हो, बिना किसी चोट के ही रक्तस्राव हो। तो अरसा हो गया सहते सहते, कष्ट होने पर कुछ नहीं कहते। ऐसे में डॉक्टर संदीप कहते हैं कि विशेषज्ञ डॉक्टर को बता देते तो बच जाते समय रहते। मैं आपको पिछले साल की एक बात बताता हूँ। पिछले साल जब शुरू हुआ था कोरोना काल, तब हमारी आदरणीय भाभी श्रीमती शकुंतला गर्ग इसी पेट के कैंसर के कारण जाती रहीं। सही समय पर आवश्यक जांच नहीं कराई, अनावश्यक गोलियां खाती रहीं, दर्द को दबाती रहीं, बच्चों से छिपाती रहीं। तो आया रोग बिना आहट के उस छलिया ने हमें छला, लगा कि अब लौटी, वक्त गमन का नहीं टला। इतनी जल्दी चली गईं वो, हमें पता ही नहीं चला। अपना ये अज्ञान बताएं, हमको सचमुच बहुत खला। इसलिए दर्द निरंतर रहे, जांच झट करवाएं, सहते रहने की कैसी लाचारी है, लापरवाही में तो खतरा भारी है। प्यारे मित्रों, एक बात का ध्यान रखो, अपना जीवन अपनी जिम्मेदारी है। मैं दोहराता हूं, अपना जीवन अपनी जिम्मेदारी है, लापरवाही में तो खतरा भारी है। सही समय पर कैंसर को उपचार मिले, ज्ञान दीप से हर बीमारी हारी है, लापरवाही में तो खतरा भारी है। ज्ञान दीप से हर बीमारी हारी है। तो आइए एब्डोमिनल कैंसर डे के जरिए जन जन को जगाएं। यह दिन एक मशाल है, इसे हम सब मिलकर मनाएं।
Thank you, sir, for sharing and inspiring all our viewers. Now, I would like to call the founder of Abdominal Cancer Day, Dr. Sandeep Jain, sir. He's a renowned GI surgeon, HPB bariatric surgeon. He has been associated with CK Birla Hospital, RBH Jaipur. He's been in Jaipur for last 15 years and has operated around 10,000 cases. He is the founder of Abdominal Cancer Day and Abdominal Cancer Trust. Let's welcome Dr. Sandeep Jain, sir.
Thank you, Surbhi, for your kind words. And I also welcome all of you across the globe to spare your valuable time to attend this webinar. As told by Surbhi, we founded this day 3 years back in 2019. And since then, we are observing this day annually. And our aim is to percolate this idea of Abdominal Cancer Day, and through this, the awareness about this early presentation of this disease globally. Now coming to my presentation. So friends, for last 2 years, globally, we all are under the grip of this deadly viral infection called COVID-19. And in last 1 year, I have seen many patients suffering from abdominal cancers who are also having this additional problem of COVID-19 infection. So there are many concerns regarding their prevention of this infection, how to get rid of this infection if at all the cancer patients gets it, and about the vaccination. So this year I am talking about 3 things related to abdominal cancer. Foremost, the COVID-19 and abdominal cancers, preventable and treatable killers, how we can deal with the situation in a patient of abdominal cancer who has got COVID-19 infection also. Second part is that we are going to talk about the various aspects of abdominal cancers, how to make ourselves more aware so that we can pick up our symptoms at the earliest, make the diagnosis at the earliest possible stage, and get a proper treatment so as to achieve a permanent cure. And third, and not the least, about the stomach care, which happens in patients of intestinal cancers after surgery. Gautam Buddha, many years back, has said one very profound thing, that every human being is the author of his or her own health or disease. And this is so easy to understand this quote nowadays with this pandemic going on. As we see, lot many people are getting infected and losing their lives because of this disease. But if we deeply understand it, it is all because most of us have not been properly careful about the COVID behavior, how to prevent proper masking, social distancing, and that is how we are getting this disease. Similarly, abdominal cancers are also the disease where we can prevent ourselves from getting that deadly disease in 90 to 95% of the times, just by modifying our lifestyle to the more healthier one. So let us see how that can happen. First, related to COVID-19 and cancers, COVID-19 pandemic proved our lack of awareness and discipline in taking care of our own health. We are dying of corona infection, which is totally a preventable disease. Incidentally, same is also true to a large extent with abdominal cancers. Is it important for a cancer patient to take extra care? Yes, definitely. Having cancer increases the risk of severe illness from COVID-19. Cancer patients are immunocompromised, thus having a lower capacity to fight back this disease. If cancer patient gets COVID-19 infection, the chances of complications are higher due to immunosuppression, which may be because of chemotherapy, radiotherapy, or surgery. People with blood cancers may be at a higher risk of prolonged infection and death from COVID-19 than people with solid tumors. And for your information, abdominal cancers are always a type of solid tumors. What are the COVID-19 precautions, especially for cancer patients? Mind you, they are exactly the same as those for normal people, like wear well-fitting mask that covers mouth and nose, stay at least 6 feet away from people, COVID-19 vaccination at the earliest, avoid crowds and poorly ventilated indoor spaces, wash your hands with soap, water, or use sanitizer, and cover all the coughs and sneezes. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces daily. Be alert for the symptoms of COVID-19. If exposed to COVID-19 patient or have symptoms of this infection, immediately isolate yourself, consult a healthcare provider, and get tested for coronavirus infection. Now, something about COVID-19 vaccination in cancer patient. Every cancer patient is eligible for vaccination if no contraindication like history of severe allergic reaction to any of the components of the vaccine. Suppose if the patient is recently receiving chemotherapy, he or she must consult the doctor to check whether their immune system has recovered fully before this vaccination. Safety and efficacy of vaccine are similar in such patients as that in normal people without any underlying disease. It is possible that people treated for cancer and others who are immunosuppressed may have a weaker response to the vaccine. Therefore, people who have received vaccination who are also a cancer survivor should continue to follow all current guidelines to protect themselves against COVID-19 exposure. A COVID-19 vaccine may cause temporary swelling of the lymph nodes in the armpit, so must wait for 4 to 6 weeks after completing vaccination before getting a mammogram. There are a few common concerns for cancer patients regarding COVID-19 infection. Cancer patients can be divided into 3 groups: patients who are on active treatment, patients who are on maintenance therapy or follow-up, and patients who are recently diagnosed being planned for treatment. Patients who are on maintenance treatment like chemotherapy or hormonal therapy are not on higher risk than normal patients. They just need to comply with normal precautions as any other person without cancer. They must avoid going out for regular consultation or checkups and instead should opt for teleconsultations. Ideally, chemotherapy cycle must not be skipped even with the fear of COVID-19 infection, because in any case, if the interval between two cycles becomes more than 3 months, there will not be any benefit of that chemotherapy cycle. Few important statistics of cancer patients with COVID-19 infection. A German study has shown that asymptomatic infections did not impact the outcomes of further treatment like chemotherapy. Cancer patients on treatment were not found to have severe form of COVID-19 infection. Also, the mortality in asymptomatic COVID-19 positive patients with cancer was similar to that in patients who tested negative for the virus. Patients who had received systemic therapy within 1 to 3 months prior to COVID-19 diagnosis had a higher rate of COVID-19 related complications and deaths. If a cancer patient contracts COVID-19 infection, there may be a higher chance of severe complication due to infection, especially in patients with lower immunity. All cancer patients are not immunocompromised. For around 7 days after getting chemotherapy, patient's immune system will be suppressed and it recovers within next 3 weeks. Cancer patients with impaired immune system can be identified if they have low WBC counts, low immunoglobulin levels, long-lasting immunosuppression like on steroids or antibodies. And therefore, in these group of patients, special attention to recent new symptoms like fever, cough, sore throat, breathing difficulty, muscular pain, tiredness, loss of smell or taste must be taken care of. Now, having said that, this is a very favorite picture of mine, which shows the actual reality of our world in which we are living. We actually are a lazy race as a human beings, and we do not pay any attention to lead a disciplined, good lifestyle life. Rather, we are indulged into all kinds of wrong practices, wrong eating habits, sedentary lifestyle. And in the end, because of that, when we get serious diseases, be it cancer or anything else, we queue up in a long line for toxic pills and surgery for the treatment of that. We must understand that with proper awareness and knowledge, we can adapt to lifestyle change to a more healthy one, and thus we can remove this line and thus save many lives. Let us see how we can, with awareness, at least for abdominal cancers, shift this line to this line and make a difference. This is an interesting slide which shows number of deaths by risk factors annually across the world. As you see, high blood pressure causes more than 10 million deaths annually, high blood sugar more than 5 million deaths annually, high cholesterol more than 4 million deaths annually, smoking more than 6 million, obesity more than 4 million, alcohol around 3 million, diet low in fruits and vegetables around 4 million, and low physical activity around 1.5 million. All these figures are the annual deaths happening globally just because of these individual problems. And all these problems are nothing but because of lifestyle. Here you see the three things: high blood pressure, blood sugar, and cholesterol. They are because of these habits which we have, that is smoking, obesity, alcohol, diet low in fats and fruits and vegetables, and low physical activity. All these habits, these five, they have a significant potential to cause cancers, including abdominal cancers. Now, with this idea, with this knowledge, we have founded this Abdominal Cancer Day, 19th of May in 2019. And the mission of this foundation is to increase world's awareness about abdominal cancers so as to help decrease their incidence and to be able to detect them when they are still in treatable stage. The vision is a world with significantly decreased incidence of abdominal cancers and with minimum possible number of people diagnosed with late stage abdominal cancers. As you can see in this logo, various types of abdominal cancers which we are talking about, that is esophageal cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic cancer, gallbladder cancer, gastric cancer, appendiceal cancer, and colon and rectal, that is the large intestinal cancer. We all know that cancers are the second leading cause of death after cardiovascular disease. But most of us are not aware that abdominal cancers are the second commonest cause of cancer deaths across the globe. Out of 10 top cancer deaths, 6 are abdominal cancers. Still, there is no alarm in our minds when we suffer from some symptoms of abdomen, like what happens for chest symptoms. Suppose during this seminar, somebody gets a chest pain, he or she will immediately stop this webinar, rush to the cardiologist and seek the proper treatment and advice. But this does not happen, unfortunately, for the abdominal problems. Thus, a dedicated day was needed to create this awareness. There are few causes, and thus because we know the causes, we can prevent those causes, and thus abdominal cancers. Again, I am repeating, 90 to 95% of cancers are related to environmental and lifestyle factors. Only 5 to 10% are due to inherited genetics. Common environmental factors which contribute to cancer deaths are tobacco to the tune of 25 to 30%, alcohol to the tune of 3 to 10%, diet and obesity to the tune of 30 to 35%, and diet which promotes cancer is diet which is low in fruits and vegetables, high in red or processed meat, and these kind of diets increase the chance of colon and pancreatic cancers. Infections contribute 15 to 20% of cancers, and most common of them are hepatitis B, C, and H. pylori. These can be prevented by vaccination and proper treatment. Stress, lack of physical activity, and pollution, autoimmune diseases like ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, they all contribute to the higher incidence of abdominal cancers. And must remember that cancer is not a transmissible disease or a communicable disease. Many cancer patients and their families, when they come to me, they are having this concern that, sir, whether this cancer can transmit to the other family members just being in the same room. Please don't bother about that. It never happens. Now, what is the prognosis of abdominal cancers? There are few factors which are responsible for overall survival, and they include type of cancer, stage of the cancer disease at the time of diagnosis, and overall health of the patient. Out of these three, second and third factor are modifiable factor if the person is properly aware. When we talk of cancer stage, what do you mean by that? We mean that cancer stages are of 4 types: stage 1, 2, 3, 4. Stage 1 cancer is when it is smallest in size and localized. Stage 2 cancer is when it is slightly larger in size but still localized. Stage 3 cancer is when it spreads into the surrounding tissues or lymph nodes. And stage 4, that is also known as last stage cancer, when it spread to the other parts of the body. In our society and cancer, they have a peculiar relationship. Cancer in our society is the subject of widespread fear and taboo, and we all just think that cancer is a difficult and usually deadly disease. Both are only true if they are detected very late in the course. With this awareness, if we become more knowledgeable about the kind of early presentation and early diagnosis, we can definitely win this deadly disease. Earlier the abdominal cancer is found, more likely it is to be cured. This presentation and program focuses to tell you how to recognize the early signs of abdominal cancer and how to reduce your risk of abdominal cancer. Knowing what changes to look for and when to see the specialist could make a real difference. Now, what are the symptoms to look out for? Always see the specialist if you have symptoms that are either ongoing or unexplained or unusual for you. When I say ongoing symptoms, it means that if your symptom lasts for more than 3 weeks, you must see your doctor. For example, if you have persistent cough, change in bowel habits, mouth ulcer which is not healing, or feeling bloated most of the days. Unexplained symptoms are the symptoms that does not have an obvious cause, like lump or bleeding without any injury. And unusual symptoms means a change in your body that is not normal for you. For example, change in your bowel pattern. Recognizing the symptoms of abdominal cancer is actually not that difficult also. Unexplained bleeding, weight loss which is not explainable by your diet or exercise schedule, lumps, see if it is increasing in size, pain, any new unexplained pain which is lasting for more than 3 weeks could be a sign of early cancer. But please remember, these symptoms do not mean that you have abdominal cancer for sure. It is only sensible to get them checked, as they could be a sign of something that needs urgent treatment, even if it is not a cancer. And if at all it is a cancer, the sooner it is found, the more likely it is to be cured. If you already have seen your doctor and still it is not relieving, it is important for you to understand the importance of seeing your doctor again or to consult a new specialist. Now I am going to talk about the symptomatology or various kinds of symptoms of these 7 types of abdominal cancers. First, esophageal cancer. There is a long list, but as you can see in the bold letters, in early stages, often there are no symptoms or only non-specific symptoms. Stomach cancer, again, early stages, non-specific symptoms of mild indigestion. Pancreatic cancer, non-specific symptoms in early stages. Liver cancer, early stages, again non-specific complaints. Gallbladder and bile duct cancers, early stages, non-specific symptoms. Colon and rectal cancers, again they are non-specific symptoms in early stages. So you see that all kinds of abdominal cancers have one thing in common, that they all cause only very non-specific symptoms in their early stages. And until we pay attention to these persistent non-specific symptoms, we cannot diagnose our disease in earlier stages where they are curable. Coming to my experience, which made me found this day in last 15 years. In last 15 years, out of total number of cancer patients I have seen in OPD, 60% of them I diagnosed when they were in last stage, that is stage 4. 25% of them were diagnosed by me in their third stage, that is an advanced stage, and only 15% of them I could diagnose them in stage 1 or 2, that is the early stage, where a curative treatment, that is a long-lasting curative treatment, is possible. Now, when I further analyze the data to look for the cause, why 60% patients are coming so late and 25 in third stage, I found the time taken by the patient between development of first symptom and first visit to me. And I found that only 20% of them came to me within 30 days of their symptoms origin. 40% took 1 month to 3 months, 20% took 3 months to 6 months, 10% took 6 months to 1 year, and 10% were also there who took even more than 1 year to reach a doctor. And this slide explains that when you have only those 20% patients who are coming within 30 days of origin of their symptoms, they collide with this group of patients who are diagnosed in earlier stages. And here lies the answer, the importance of patients' awareness, so that they don't spend this long time waiting and waiting for the cancer to grow to the last stage, and rather with proper awareness, they must come more than 90 to 100% within 30 days of their symptom origin. If that happens, we will win this battle, and that is the sole idea of this DAY Foundation. Now, what is the significance of this data? Please listen and understand very carefully. Higher the duration of illness or higher the difference of symptom origin to seeing a doctor, higher is the stage of the disease. Higher is the stage of the disease, lesser is the chance of cure, and thus lesser is the survival of the patient. Higher is the stage, higher is the chance of recurrence, metastasis, spread, and death. Higher is the stage, higher is the need of chemotherapy and radiotherapy. Higher is the stage, higher is the suffering of the patient in terms of disease related suffering and treatment related complications. Higher is the stage, lesser is the survival and quality of life. Higher is the stage, higher is the cost of treatment. So you see, everything is in the negative side if the duration of presentation is too long. Coming to the importance of early diagnosis in abdominal cancers in another way, cancer survival can be significantly improved by reducing the number and proportion of cancers diagnosed and treated at a late stage. What are the causes of delayed diagnosis? No awareness of cancer signs and symptoms, and no understanding that any persistent abdominal symptom, which is persisting beyond 3 weeks, can be a sign of some form of abdominal cancer. Remember, cancer is not a death sentence, provided we become vigilant and do not ignore early, mostly non-specific symptoms. With early diagnosis and proper treatment, these patients can go on to live a normal, productive, and long life like any other person. Coming to the various kinds of treatment options and their aims, there are two basic aims of this cancer treatment: for cure and for palliation. Types of treatments includes surgery, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, or combination of all these three. In general, all abdominal cancers can only be cured only if they are detected in earlier stages, where they can be removed by surgery followed by addition of chemo and radiotherapy if required. Coming to curative treatment, the aim of curative treatment is to increase life, that is survival of the patient. Surgery is the mainstay, as I told you earlier. There are few surgical advances like laparoscopic surgeries, which is also known as keyhole surgery. By this kind of advanced technique of laparoscopic surgery, all types of cancers, including liver, pancreas, esophagus, colon, rectum, and gallbladder, can be performed with equally good results. Cancer can now also be operated in advanced stages, that is stage 4, which earlier were not possible. For example, if a patient of abdominal cancer has got a liver metastasis, there we can increase the survival by doing liver resection. And there is another kind of stage 4 disease, that is peritoneal metastasis. This can be treated by another complicated surgery called HIPEC surgery. Palliative treatment aim is to increase the quality of life of the person whose cancer cannot be cured, and to increase some amount of life by checking the rate of growth of cancer by chemotherapy. Now, there is one interesting aspect of cancer patients. We get all kinds of cancer patients and families, and almost all of them have some concerns. There are most common concerns which they ask me, and I found them totally not useful for their own good. What are those concerns and why they are not useful? One, patient is saying to me that we are fearful of surgery, so we don't want this surgery. Please remember, you need to be fearful, but not of the treatment, that is surgery, but fearful of the disease. It is a lost battle, as patient is going to die no matter what we do. This is a false understanding. With surgery, we can make patients survive as long as any other person without cancer. There is a high cost involved. Of course, the cost of treatment is higher than the normal diseases, but timely surgery actually saves cost and life both. In case patient is not treated in time and properly, the family end up spending more and lose the patient also. We do not want surgery, as cancer is spread by surgery. It is totally a false statement. Many patients, they start suggesting tests through their Google knowledge like PET scan just based on fear, thus adding to their own bill and misery. They often ask me that first we want to know the cause of the cancer, then we will decide for the treatment options. In most cases, remember, it is not possible to identify this cause. Even if we are aware of the cause in a particular patient, for the treatment of that particular cancer, it is least important to know that. It is, for your understanding, it is akin to a situation where there is a house on fire and family, instead of dosing the fire, are discussing the cause behind that. It is similar to that situation. They often wants to know the chance of recurrence. Reducing the chance of recurrence to minimum is in our hands by consulting specialists at the earliest of symptom development, because by that we can diagnose the patient's disease in the earlier stages where the chances of recurrence are minimum with best treatment. They also think that safe surgery is not possible as the patient is of old age, but it is absolutely not true. We operate around 2 to 4 patients who are more than 65 years of age every month. Oldest patient in my experience was 106 years, which I operated about 10 years back for liver cancer. And in my experience, the youngest patient was 3 months old, again of liver tumor. And both of them and many such patients did very well. Now, coming to the useful concerns which patient must have to ask their doctor, treating doctor. Risk of disease left if left untreated. This should be their foremost question and concern. The doctor, please tell me the risk of the disease if we do not go for surgery. Please tell us the type of complications which may happen during and because of treatment. Please ask the experience of the surgeon in dealing with that cancer. Must ensure earliest consultation with the specialist. Second opinion from the relevant specialist must be considered if no way forward with the first specialist. Earliest possible start of treatment must be done with the surgeon and hospital of their choice without wasting any time, and they must pay regular follow-up visits and get regular tests as per treating doctor's advice. Of course, there are limitations and complications of the surgery, which led to the fear factor, generation of that fear in amongst the family and patients and the society at large. But what I'm going to now express is that this limitation or complication is actually the responsibility of both the surgeons as well as the patient. And I'm going to explain it how. The surgeon is responsible because it is the surgical skill and knowledge which is going to keep this complication rate to the minimum level. But patient also is responsible to an equally great extent. Why? First, let us go through the limitations or complications of surgery. One important limitation, post-operative complications, post-operative deaths due to complications, and recurrence of abdominal cancer after some time of initial surgical treatment. Now, most of these are related to the higher stage of the disease at the time of diagnosis. If the presentation is delayed, which we see almost 80% of the time. Now, patients are responsible because they can actually help in reducing all these complications of surgery by early specialist consultation, early diagnosis, and treatment. Mind you, the earlier the disease of the cancer, the better results of the surgery would be in all these 3 parameters, that is complications, complication-related deaths, and recurrence after surgery. Now, coming to the advice for persons who are cancer survivors after abdominal cancer treatment successfully. You please remember to come back to normal life as quickly as possible. Must follow a regular routine, meet people in family, neighbors, friends, and colleagues, involve in activities you enjoy, eat things as per your choice and not decided by your family. Do not allow yourself and your family members to feel that you are sick or incapacitated. Do not feel different and lesser than people around. Remember, the first person who makes you feel discriminated on the basis of your disease is you yourself. If you feel normal, people around will also start responding in a normal way. So friends, my concluding message is that all of us will eventually die. But let us be aware enough so that we do not die of abdominal cancers, and it is a possible outcome. Like any other disease, abdominal cancers can also be treated, followed by a normal and productive life. When it comes to your health, you are in charge. If you spot something unusual in your body, tell your doctor. In most cases, it won't be a cancer, but if it is a cancer, finding it early can make a real difference. So friends, with this, I repeat my message. Please do not ignore your vague symptoms, non-specific symptoms, if they are persistent enough for more than 2 to 3 weeks, and consult a doctor. And doctor, when I say, does not mean any doctor of your vicinity or family or friends. Doctor means the specialist of the abdominal diseases. Now, coming to the third topic of discussion of today's program, that is stoma after bowel cancer surgery. Let me give you a brief about that. What is the meaning of stoma and when it is done? Suppose any patient gets a cancer of large intestine, and where after we remove that surgically, the disease, a segment of the intestine, we cannot make the normal passage functional because of some factors. It can be permanent or it can be temporary. In that case, what we do, we take out the end of the large intestine or small intestine out on the belly and fix it there. So patients after that surgery starts removing its stools and gas from that stoma in belly into a bag. Now let us discuss it in slight detail. The part of your intestine that is on the outside of your belly is called a stoma, so that the stool and gas can exit your body. Your stoma will look red and moist, similar to the inside of your mouth. You won't feel any pain or pressure within your stoma. You also won't feel any sensations of heat or cold on that. Having an ostomy is a big change for many people. Ileostomy is created from the part of the small intestine called the ileum, and in this case, the stools are loose or watery. Colostomy is created from the part of the large intestine called colon, and in this case, stools are firm in consistency. There are pouching systems which are made of skin barriers or wafer and a collection pouch. They are odor-proof and they are applied on the stoma side so that every excretion is collected in that bag. The pouch attaches to the abdomen by skin barrier, fit it over and around your stoma to collect stool and gas. Skin barrier protects skin around stoma from leakage of the stool. You must empty your pouch when it is almost halfway full, and generally you should be changing this pouching system every 3 to 5 days. Body image and depression. Some people, in fact, most people feel disgust and sadness at the loss or change in their body shape because of stoma creation. But remember, even with stoma, you are as good as anybody else without one in terms of all the life activities, be it personal, family related, or professional. I can tell you confidently with my experience of last 15 years, I have had all kinds of patients of stoma who are by profession farmers, doctors, lawyers, teachers, socialites, builders, and you name it, and we have it. And they all are pursuing their normal activity professionally with equal productivity. Coming to another issue, that is personal life, we have had patients who were unmarried when stoma was created. They got married, had children, and leading a normal life. So please don't bother about that. In fact, suppose, just presume that from tomorrow, God decides that every child which is being produced on earth will be having a stoma rather than a normal opening for stool excretion. Nothing is going to change. It may help you cope better if you look at your stoma to help get comfortable with it. Remind yourself about the positive aspects of your stomy. Talk with other people with ostomies. Coming to the nutrition in people with stoma, you must take care of staying hydrated. Drink at least 10 to around 10 glasses of liquids a day. Must limit caffeine and alcohol, and limit foods which are high in fiber and high in simple sugars because they promote dehydration. The following food items can increase gas formation and therefore must be avoided. They include foods such as cabbage and broccoli, carbonated beverages, drinking through straw, and chewing gum. If you are constipated, drink more liquids and eat high fiber foods, that is fruits and vegetables. If you have an ileostomy, do not take any kind of laxative. Exercise is important. Walking and light stretching exercises are good. Must avoid lifting or pushing anything heavier than 5 kgs. Please do not sit-ups, push-ups, or any strenuous exercise because they can lead to formation of hernia. You can go back to work as soon as you feel ready and your doctor approves it. Unless you tell them, people won't know that you have an ostomy. You will probably be able to wear most of the same clothes you wore before your surgery. As I was sharing my experience, I have seen ladies, which were my patients with permanent ostomy, wearing saris and enjoying weddings. Call your doctor or nurse if you experience vomiting, have a colostomy, and haven't had a bowel movement for 3 days. If having an ileostomy and haven't had a bowel movement for 3 to 6 hours. If you develop abdominal pain or dehydration, which is common with ileostomy, including increased thirst, dry mouth, loss of appetite, weakness, decreased urine output, dark amber colored urine, muscle, abdominal or leg cramps, feeling faint, and increased frequency of emptying pouch. There are some frequently asked questions about ostomy care. 1. What color should be the stoma? Your stoma should be a deep pink or red color at all times. Is it normal for my stoma to bleed when I touch it or change my pouching system? Yes, because your stoma has many blood vessels, so it may bleed easily with touch or irritation while cleaning. The bleeding should stop on its own within a few minutes. But if you are on blood thinner or aspirin, you may bleed for more easily and for a longer period of time. If you bleed a lot or if the bleeding does not stop after 5 to 10 minutes, apply pressure to the area and call your doctor. If you notice blood in your bowel movements or coming from inside your stoma, again call your doctor immediately. Do I need to wear gloves when I change my pouching system? It is a personal choice. There is no risk of infection from changing your pouching system, whether you wear gloves or do not wear them. It hardly matters. If I have an ileostomy, is it normal to still pass bowel movements or mucus from my rectum? Yes, you may pass leftover stools or mucus from rectum. It may be useful to wear a pad and apply a zinc ointment to prevent irritation. Features of a healthy stoma includes that stoma should be above the skin level all the time. It should be red and moist stoma. Pallor means anemia and dark hue means ischemia. There should not be any separation between the mucocutaneous edge and the skin. No evidence of erythema, rash, ulceration, or inflammation in the surrounding skin should be visible. Important aspect nowadays, while traveling by air, wind can become worse for patients when they travel in aircraft. The change in pressure within the cabin can lead to large amounts of wind being passed. This can be exacerbated by drinking fizzy drinks and beer. So please mind you from taking such kind of drinks. Now friends, this year we are also launching our app, that is Abdominal Cancer Day app, and just letting you go through this app. This is the app. You press the icon, it will open. It is available in 13 languages. You have to just sign in for free. And this is the home page. You click on any of these tiles and the details about that tile will open. Like when you go for About Us information, you can get that, both about the founder and the foundation, mission and vision statement, what we aim by this day. You can always contact us for any assistance. You can get awareness knowledge through this app. Also, you can have different aspects of all the 7 types of abdominal cancers by clicking on them. Then you have blogs on facts and myths about abdominal cancers, list of pre-malignant conditions, role of bariatric surgery in the prevention of cancers, and role of laparoscopic surgery in the treatment of abdominal cancers. So with this, I conclude my presentation, and I wish that together we can make this aim and vision successful make this day successful by making most of the people globally aware of these small things by which you end up saving your most important thing, that is your life and your quality of life and whatnot. Thank you very much, friends, for attending this session and making it successful year after year for 3 years continuously. Hoping to see you next year in best of health. And please take care and stay safe in this COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your heightened awareness. I believe the session is being very awareness creating and has created a lot of awareness about abdominal cancer to all the viewers who are watching this. And I believe this chain of awareness will go on like this. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Now we will go forward with the survival stories of our cancer patients.
नमस्कार, मेरा नाम दिनेश शर्मा है। ये मेरी वाइफ है नेहा शर्मा। हम जोड़वाड़ा जयपुर से हैं। आज हम हमारे बच्चे समर्थ शर्मा के बारे में बताना चाह रहे हैं। जब समर्थ 1 दिन का था तब हमें पता चला कि उसके लीवर में एक सिस्ट है। हमने जब चेकअप करवाया तब डॉक्टर्स ने हमको बताया कि ह्यूमेंजियोमा नामक सिस्ट है और इसकी एक मेडिसिन है वो देनी पड़ेगी आपको कंटिन्यूसली काफ़ी टाइम तक। वो जो सिस्ट है वो धीरे धीरे कम होती जाएगी। हमने वो मेडिसिन दी, लेकिन 3-4 महीने होने पर भी जो सिस्ट कम नहीं, काफ़ी बढ़ गई थी। तो हम काफ़ी डरे हुए थे, क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना, हमको कुछ भी नहीं पता था। हम जयपुर के काफ़ी सारे हॉस्पिटल में जा चुके थे। डॉक्टर ने हमको ऑपरेशन के लिए भी मना कर दिया था कि अभी बच्चा छोटा है, अभी ऑपरेशन नहीं हो सकता। और
हमें यहाँ तक उसकी लीवर ट्रांसप्लांट करने की बात भी की थी कि लीवर ट्रांसप्लांट करवाओ इसका। उस वक्त हम लोग बहुत डर गए थे कि लीवर ट्रांसप्लांट अभी कैसे पॉसिबल है, समझ में नहीं आ रहा था हमें। फिर उसी वक्त मेरी कजन है, उसको मैंने फोन किया, वो सीके बिरला हॉस्पिटल में काम करती है। उसने बताया कि डॉक्टर संदीप सर है यहाँ पे, आप एक दूसरे उनका सजेशन लीजिए। हम लोग उस वक्त रेडी थे बाहर जाने के लिए, पुणे जा रहे थे। हम लोग दिल्ली भी डॉक्टर से परामर्श ले चुके थे। उस वक्त हम लोग रेडी थे बाहर जाके इसका इलाज करवाने, कहीं ना कुछ तो होगा ही इसका। उस वक्त संदीप सर जाके हम मिले। संदीप ने बोला कि इसका ऑपरेशन हो जाएगा। हम काफी खुश हो गए, इसका ऑपरेशन, सबने मना कर दिया इसका ऑपरेशन नहीं हो सकता, संदीप बोला कि ऑपरेशन हो जाएगा। हम काफी खुश हो गए। नेक्स्ट डे उसकी बायोप्सी हुई। बायोप्सी होने के बाद हमें पता चला कि इसके एब्डोब्लास्टोमा है। और उसके बाद हम सर ने ललित मोहन शर्मा जो महावीर कैंसर में हॉस्पिटल में, उनको सजेस्ट किया हमें कि वहाँ जाके कीमोथेरेपी स्टार्ट करवाओ उसकी। उस वक्त हम लोग हैंड टू हैंड वहाँ जाके इसकी कीमो स्टार्ट जल्द से जितना जल्दी हो सका हम वहाँ जाके कीमो उसका स्टार्ट करवाया। उसकी 7 कीमो की हो चुकी थी उस वक्त 7 कीमो होने के बाद हम लोग जब उसकी कीमो होती, हम लोग संदीप सर से मिलते, वो हमें सजेस्ट करते कि इस वक्त इसका ऑपरेशन कब हो सकता है, कितने सिस्ट कम होने के बाद का ऑपरेशन कर सकते हैं वो। और उसकी सिस्ट इतनी कम हो गई कि इसका ऑपरेशन करने लायक हो गया। सर ने इसका ऑपरेशन किया। ऑपरेशन करते वक्त हम बहुत डरे हुए थे कि इस वक्त क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा। डॉक्टर जो बोलते हैं वो सही बोलते हैं, लेकिन हमें हमारा व्यू देखना था कि हम कितने घबरा रहे थे उस चीज को लेकर, क्योंकि ये बीमारी ऐसी थी कि हमें डरना भी चाहिए। डरना इतना नहीं चाहिए क्योंकि हमें लगा था कि हाँ हमारा बच्चा ठीक हो जाएगा। डॉक्टर्स का सपोर्ट था साथ में हमें, और हमें खुद पे भरोसा था कि हमारी मेहनत की कुछ है इसमें। हम लोग लगातार डॉक्टर से संपर्क में थे हमेशा। उस वक्त जिसका ऑपरेशन हुआ, ऑपरेशन उसकी सिस्ट काफी कितनी बहुत बड़ी थी,
7 सेंटीमीटर की सिस्ट थी उसकी। और उसका वेट जब ऑपरेशन करके निकाला उसका वेट था ½ kg का। हम सिस्ट को देख के भी काफी घबरा गए थे, बोले कि इतनी बड़ी सिस्ट थी, बच्चे इसको लेकर घूम रहा करते हैं लोग से। फिर वो दिन निकल गए काफी, और धीरे धीरे जब दिन निकले फिर हमने ऑपरेशन के बाद में 3 कीमोथेरेपी और कराई। और जब ऑपरेशन के 3 महीने बाद में डॉक्टर सर के कहने पर हमने फिर से टेस्ट करवाया, तो हमें जान के बहुत खुशी हुई कि जितनी भी जो परेशानी थी वो सारी हट गई है, दूर हट गई है। और जो रिपोर्ट थी सारी की सारी नॉर्मल आ चुकी थी। हम काफी खुश थे। हम स्पेशल थैंक्स देना चाहते हैं डॉक्टर संदीप जैन सर को एंड उनके टीम को। स्पेशल थैंक्स देना चाहते हैं आईसीयू टीम को।
उसने उस वक्त उसकी बहुत केयर की, समर्थ की बहुत केयर की आईसीयू टीम ने, संदीप सर ने बहुत सपोर्ट किया। थैंक्स टू यू सर, थैंक्स टू यू आईसीयू टीम, थैंक्स टू यू सीके बिरला हॉस्पिटल कि हमें बाहर जाना नहीं पड़ा। हमें जयपुर हमारा इलाज हो गया, हमारा बच्चा ठीक हो गया, समर्थ सही हो गया। थैंक्स टू यू ऑल ऑफ यू।
और हम आपको सबको एक मैसेज देना चाहते हैं कि कैंसर एक बहुत बड़ी बीमारी है, आप इसको लेकर डरे ना। जैसे आपके डॉक्टर्स आपको सजेशन देते हैं आप उनके अकॉर्डिंग चलिए। और मैं ये मानता हूँ कि जैसे डॉक्टर बोल रहे हैं अगर आप वो वैसा करते हैं तो आप इस बीमारी को हरा के अपनी ज़िंदगी में वापस आएंगे।
Dear friend, myself Ramchandra Chaudhary, age 50 years, and I am the CMD of Vinay Group Chomu. Today is World Abdominal Cancer Day, and I would like to share my experiences with you. Friend, I had also been a sufferer of some disease for 15 years. I had a tumor on my blood vein in my stomach. Due to chemical clearance from that tumor, I had been suffering for high blood pressure, smelly sweetness and constant headache. Sometimes my blood pressure used to increase a lot due to extra chemical clearance, and I felt my life in danger. My problem was treated as a cardiovascular disease initially and no result found. I visited so many hospitals and met with many doctors during its period. At last, I met with Dr. Sandeep Jain, who diagnosed my disease. After so many tests, he told me that I was suffering from a kind of abdominal tumor, and the tumor had damaged some of my blood arteries badly. He advised me for surgery as soon as possible. I was in a great shock. It came into my knowledge that total number of same case found in Jaipur were only 4, and 2 out of 4 were successfully operated by Dr. Sandeep Jain. Friends, at last I handed my life to Dr. Sandeep Jain and got my operation done in 2013. I discharged from hospital after 10 days and now have been enjoying my life happily and healthy for 7 years. People say that the doctor are the second face of God, but I have experienced it personally as Dr. Sandeep Jain. Thank you, Dr. Sandeep, for giving me the opportunity to live a healthy and happy life on this planet. Once again, thank you. Thanks a lot.
हेलो फ्रेंड्स, मैं कुलदीप श्री गंगानगर तहसील सादुल शहर से। मुझे दिसंबर 2018 में दिक्कत हुई थी। उसके बाद मैंने रिपोर्ट वगैरह करवाई और 25 जनवरी 2019 को मेरा ऑपरेशन हुआ नारायणा में, जयपुर। गठान थी वो निकाल दी। उसकी बायोप्सी भेजी गई। उसकी रिपोर्ट में ट्यूमर आया। तो उसके बाद काफ़ी डॉक्टरों से डिस्कस की। लास्ट में फिर संदीप सर से डिस्कस हुई तो संदीप सर ने ऑपरेशन रिपीट करने का बोला। फिर दोबारा ऑपरेशन हुआ मेरा 4 अप्रैल 2019 को, और उसके बाद मैं अभी बिल्कुल नॉर्मल लाइफ जी रहा हूँ। मुझे अब कोई तकलीफ़ नहीं है। हर 6 महीने से मेरा चेकअप होता है। संदीप सर से मैं डिस्कस करता हूँ आके, और अभी मैं बिल्कुल स्वस्थ हूँ। मैं मेरा सारा काम कर रहा हूँ। मुझे अब कोई तकलीफ़ नहीं है। बीमारी कोई भी हो, टाइम पे इलाज और अच्छे डॉक्टर का अगर परामर्श मिले, अच्छे डॉक्टर से अगर इलाज हो, तो बीमारी कोई भी हो वो लाइलाज नहीं हो सकती।
नमस्कार, मैं हूं डॉक्टर कांता धवन, 73 इयर्स ओल्ड। जुलाई 2019 में मुझे पता चला कि मुझे कैंसर है। मैं बहुत डर गई। मुझे कैसे हो गया? मैं तो अपने हेल्थ के लिए बहुत कॉन्शियस रही हूँ, बहुत डिसिप्लिन लाइफ रही है मेरी। घर का खाना, एक्सरसाइज, योगा, वॉकिंग सब रेगुलर मैं करती रही हूँ। फिर ये कैसे हो गया? लेकिन हकीकत ये है कि ये किसी को भी हो सकता है। हमारा शरीर एक पाचन तंत्र अंगों से बनी हुई मशीनरी है। इसमें कभी कुछ भी एबनॉर्मलिटी आ सकती है। उसे हमको अनदेखा नहीं करना चाहिए, जैसे मैंने किया। प्लीज उसको अनदेखा ना करके हम जागरूक रहें, बिना संकोच और शर्म के डॉक्टर के पास जाएं और अपना इलाज कराएं। ये बीमारी लाइलाज नहीं है। मेरी ये खुशकिस्मती थी कि मैं इलाज के लिए सीके बिरला हॉस्पिटल के डॉक्टर संदीप जैन के पास गई, जो कि एक बहुत ही सकारात्मक सोच के कुशल सर्जन हैं। मैं जब गई थी तो बहुत डिप्रेस थी, शायद बस अब जिंदगी मेरी खत्म हो गई ये लग रहा था मुझे। लेकिन उनसे बात करके मुझ में पॉजिटिविटी आई, इस बीमारी से लड़ने की हिम्मत आई और 9 अक्टूबर को मेरी सफल सर्जरी हुई। अब मैं एकदम स्वस्थ हूँ, सभी काम करती हूँ। पुराना लाइफस्टाइल मैंने अडॉप्ट कर लिया है, मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है। पेशे से मैं एक संगीतज्ञ हूँ, तो डॉक्टर संदीप जैन जी के कहने से मैंने फिर से संगीत साधना भी शुरू कर दी है। ऑनलाइन क्लासेस भी लेती हूँ। मुझे अब कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, मैं बिल्कुल पूर्ण रूप से स्वस्थ हूँ। सीके बिरला के डॉक्टर्स, उनकी पूरी टीम, डॉक्टर जैन, उनकी टीम को मैं शत धन्यवाद देती हूँ, जिन्होंने मुझे जीवन दान दिया। एक बात मैं कहना चाहती हूँ, जो भी सुन रहे हैं प्लीज अपने प्रति सजग रहें, जागरूक रहें, सकारात्मक रहें और वक्त रहते अपना इलाज कराएं। ये बीमारी लाइलाज नहीं है।
नमस्कार, मैं रोहित। मेरे साथ में मेरे बाबूजी श्री राम गोपाल जालानी, उम्र 75 वर्ष। बाबूजी का लगभग 2 वर्ष पहले बड़ी आंत का ऑपरेशन हुआ था और उसके बाद में रिसेंटली हम लोगों ने उनका वापस से कोलन क्लोज़र करवाया है। 2018 में मुझे याद है कि अचानक से बाबूजी के पेट में दर्द हुआ था, जिसको एक मामूली हम लोगों ने पेट दर्द की तरह समझा। लेकिन फाइनली जब डायग्नोस करवाया तो पता लगा कि बाबूजी की बड़ी आंत में गांठ है। हम लोगों को एक ऐसे लगा कि मानो पैरों तले ज़मीन खिसक गई। लेकिन कहते हैं ना कि डॉक्टर भगवान का रूप होते हैं, तो उसी रूप में हमें डॉक्टर संदीप जैन से हमारा मुलाकात हुआ। हमने बाबूजी को इमरजेंसी में तुरंत सीके बिरला हॉस्पिटल में शिफ्ट किया और डॉक्टर साहब ने हमको पूरी ब्रीफिंग देके और बाबूजी का सफल ऑपरेशन किया। जैसा कि आप देख सकते हैं कि बाबूजी अभी कोलन क्लोज़र के बाद धीरे धीरे अपनी स्वास्थ्य को सुधार कर रहे हैं। तो मैं यही कहना चाहूँगा कि अगर मन में आपके पूरी दृढ़ विश्वास हो और आगे मन में ये सोचें कि हम ये ऐसी बीमारी नहीं है कि जो वापस से हम लोग जिससे रिकवर ना कर पाएँ, और पूरा कमिटमेंट रखें मन में, तो निश्चित तौर पे इस प्रकार की बीमारी से आदमी स्वस्थ हो सकता है। बस मन में विश्वास होना चाहिए। तो मैं सभी से गुजारिश करूँगा कि इसी तरह का अगर मन में कोई भ्रांति हो तो आप लोगों को वो दूर करें और लोगों को इसके बारे में जागरूक करें कि इस प्रकार की जो बीमारी है तो आदमी उससे सही हो सकता है और आगे चल के स्वस्थ और एक नॉर्मल रूटीन लाइफ जी सकता है।
नमस्ते, मेरा नाम रेनू चढ़वाल है। मैं अजमेर की रहने वाली हूँ। मेरी उम्र 58 ईयर्स है। पिछले दिसंबर में मेरे को खाना खाने में बहुत समस्या हो रही थी। हमने टेस्ट करवाया तो उसमें मेरे को फूड पाइप में कैंसर निकला। वो समय मेरे लिए, हमारे घर वालों के लिए बहुत ही चुनौतीपूर्ण रहा, पर मैंने हिम्मत नहीं हारी और इसका इलाज कराने की पूरा निर्णय लिया। कीमोथेरेपी, रेडिएशन के बाद में हमने सीके बिरला हॉस्पिटल में डॉक्टर संदीप जैन से सर्जरी कराने का निर्णय लिया। सर्जरी के दौरान डॉक्टर संदीप जैन के साथ में हमारा बहुत ही अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा। उन्होंने मुझे विश्वास दिलाया और बहुत ही ध्यान रखा। उसके बाद में अब मैं ठीक भी हो रही हूँ और मेरी रिपोर्ट्स भी सब अच्छी आई हैं। इसलिए जो भी कैंसर पेशेंट्स हैं, मैं उनको यही संदेश देना चाहती हूँ कि वो इस बीमारी से डरे नहीं, हिम्मत से काम लें और इसका इलाज ज़रूर कराएं, वो ज़रूर ठीक होगी।
As we heard from that the survival stories of a cancer patients, as already briefed by Sir, that the treatment is possible if it is done at the earliest of its stage. And as the experience shared by all of them, it is finally dictated. So let's go forward with some of the questionnaires that has been asked by our viewers on this abdominal cancer.
Sure.
So shall we, sir?
Yeah, sure, please.
Okay, sir, as you already said that there are lots of cancer that people are suffering from, and 6 out of 10 people are dying because of abdominal cancer. But really, I want to know why you have created a day for that.
It's a very interesting question. Actually, this concept of this day came to my mind 12, 13 years back when I noticed that 80% of the people coming to me with abdominal cancers, we are not able to do anything just because they are being diagnosed in stage 3 or 4. And because of this, they are suffering so much. So I thought what is lacking? We are equipped with every possible technological advancement. We are having best of the hospitals in every city nowadays, even in India, in a third world country. And mind you, this problem is not related to India or any such poor country. This problem is equally prevalent in developed nations also. So this is a global problem, irrespective of the type of country we are living in. So then when I studied it much, I came to realize that it is just the lack of awareness that people are not bothered about abdominal pain or abdominal symptoms. They just don't have any idea that abdominal symptom can lead to a life-threatening disease. And if we make them aware, there cannot be anybody who is so foolish that he or she won't take care of his or her life. They will definitely rush to the doctor on time, provided they know that the path they are going on is leading to death. So that is how this idea of importance of creating awareness came to my mind. And thus, initial few years I spent gathering my own data to make my beliefs and observation more conviction, with more conviction. And then I founded this finally in 2019. And since then we are celebrating it on every year.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And it's good to have such a day with us so that we can be more aware about this. But yes, the next question from a viewer from Jaipur, is it only for the people who are elderly or just the younger people, or there is some age specific related to this disease?
It's a very interesting question. Actually, few years back, when I say few means 20 years back, 15 years back, this disease was identified with old age only. But nowadays, for last 5 years, we are observing significant shift in the age group of these patients of abdominal cancers. Presently in my ward, I have a 29-year-old male patient suffering from last stage of colon cancer. Another patient, 40-year-old person, last stage of pancreatic cancer. I've had a 16-year-old girl with last stage of gallbladder cancers, and you name the age and we have cancer in those patients. So age nowadays is not a criteria. Anybody can get cancers nowadays at any age. So everybody must be aware to its fullest and must start living a healthy and disciplined life.
Okay, and as the next question is related to that only, sir, what according to you is a healthy lifestyle? Because there may be different perspective for everybody as per the age group.
Yeah, actually that perspective is based on their comfort zone and the things they are addicted to. They are not based on science or any base. Actually, the disciplined life is very easy. People often ask me this question in my OPD clinic also. And I can tell you 99 out of 100 such people who ask me what is healthy lifestyle, they actually in their heart knows what is healthy lifestyle, but they just don't want to do that. Healthy lifestyle means they have to sleep during the time which is meant to sleep. They have to work during the time which is meant to work. They should not get into this sedentary lifestyle. They cannot just equate their work time as their physical activity. They have to dedicate around 30 to 60 minutes every day for their physical fitness. They have to choose a very healthy diet. They have to choose a healthy time to eat that diet, and they have to keep themselves free from addiction. I am saying addiction. I'm not saying that you should not touch alcohol or any like smoking. Of course, no amount of smoking is healthy, but alcohol, it has got few beneficial effects in a very limited dose, and social drinking is a norm nowadays. So even with that thing, it is possible to keep yourself free from abdominal cancers. So friends, see to your parents and your grandparents, and nothing could be a better teacher than them to understand what is the meaning of disciplined life and healthy life.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. The next question which comes to my mind is, we all talk about it, and you have a very good hand over it when we talk about bariatric surgery and all that. I just want to know, is obesity a major cause of abdominal cancer, or is just another symptom of it, or anything like that?
No, obesity is an important cause, and there are three things which are linked together actually: your dietary choices, obesity, and lack of physical activity. And all these three individually contributes to 20 to 30% of incidence of abdominal cancers. So you can see 1/3 of the causes of abdominal cancers are linked to obesity. So it is a very significant factor. So again, here comes the importance of two things. One, lifestyle choices, so that you do not get fat at all. Even if you start getting fat, just be aware and bring your weight back to normal by having habits of good eating choices. And if at all you wake up very late with a limit of morbid obesity, there also you can bring your risk of death to minimum from obesity and getting abdominal cancers by getting a bariatric surgery.
Okay. Oh, so sir, as you started this Abdominal Cancer Day, how was the response from the previous session that has been conducted from last 2 years?
Last 3 years. This is the third year. 2019, actually, we organized in a very limited scale. It was just limited to Jaipur. And we had a physical program in an auditorium. And we could manage only 600 people. And believe me, Surbhi, I was not even, hopeful of getting 600 people listening to me on this medical topic, on this deadly topic for 1 hour continuously. I was really afraid, anxious that people will not like it. But I got a phenomenal response. There was a pin drop silence for continuously for 1.5 hours, and that encouraged me further. Unfortunately, COVID happened in 2020, but as far as this day celebration is concerned, this particular COVID pandemic given me a very good idea to go virtually. And when we had to go virtually, we immediately realized that means we can reach global audience.
Yeah, right.
And that ways, last year we could have the audience of around 18,000 people, with 10% of them from different countries outside India. This year we are targeting much more than that, and let us see how people get this presentation. If they find it useful, I am sure we are going to have more number of people attending to these sessions.
Okay, so we have seen that marathon was a part of this session. And why only marathon?
Actually, marathon is a sign of healthy living, disciplined lifestyle, and endurance. And all these three things are, when you combine these three things, it equates to good health and long survival or disease-free survival. So that is why we chose marathon. Again, because of COVID, we could not do it actual marathon. We had to resort to virtual marathon. But I am glad to inform you, we have just collected the data, and around 3,200 people had this virtual marathon from across the globe, different countries like few South African countries, few Middle East countries, East Asian countries, and various states of India. All together, we had 3,200 runners. And one of them from Kota had actually 42-kilometer long marathon, and you know where? On the roof of his house,
Oh,
because of
yeah, yeah.
lockdown.
Yes. So we got to know how to work in a virtual way, in
Yeah,
a productive way, right?
exactly.
So, sir, what message you would like to give to the public in this COVID surge to be fit and have a healthy lifestyle and free from abdominal cancer?
I want to give three messages today. One, of course, related to COVID. COVID is absolutely a preventable disease. Virus cannot mutate, no matter how serious virus becomes with whatever mutation. It cannot penetrate your mask if you are standing from a person which is 6 feet away. So if you, in fact, increased surge in COVID numbers is a reflection of our indiscipline. COVID infection is happening because of our indiscipline in most cases, barring healthcare workers, because they have to be with the patient all the time. But the death is not because of that. So by just making ourselves more disciplined in the way we live in this pandemic, we can spare our precious life. The second message is about abdominal cancer. This cancer, though sounds very deadly, and though commonly it is difficult to understand that this is preventable by lifestyle modification, but it is a fact in 90 to 95% of the patients. So please refrain from all those addictions, all those unhealthy lifestyle practices, be it habits of physical exercise, be it dietary choices or whatever, and be healthy. Believe me, you will remain fit without any abdominal cancer. Can you imagine Gautam Buddha 3000 years back could imagine that and could identify that he said that you are the author of your own disease and health.
Yes.
That means nothing but this. And in 3000 years, we have learned nothing. We still need these kind of programs to understand that healthy living is so important to be disease free. Do not afraid of this word cancer. It is treatable, provided you take charge of your health. Nobody is going to take charge of your health, not even your immediate family member. Until unless you are careful about your own health, nobody is going to prevent you getting from any diseases. So please be in charge. Take notice of small symptoms, non-specific symptoms, if they are persistent, and reach out to the specialist and get the best possible treatment on time. And lastly, please do not take this cancer word as a death warrant. It is not a death warrant, but only with a small amount of awareness and vigilance, you can get rid of this disease successfully with proper and timely treatment.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. As you have explained it very finely, that how to start within yourself, because that is finely said, the change starts with you, and the health should not have any excuses. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to go forward with a vote of thanks by Dr. Sandeep Jain, sir.
Thank you, Surbhi. And now this is the time that I wish to pay my sincere thanks and gratitude to all those people who have made this day a successful event, a beneficial event to the society for last 3 years. I extend my sincere thanks to all the people who have been supporting us in making it successful. Thank you all the audience and our patients who have spared their valuable time for our program. I am very grateful to Padam Shri Ashok Chakradhar ji and Professor S.S. Sharma sir for their graceful presence and participation. My sincere gratitude and appreciation to the IIEMR team led by Mr. Mukesh Mishra and his able team members, including Vikram, Avinash, Nitin, Rohit, Surbhi, and many more, for planning and executing this 2021 event. I extend my sincere thanks to Ms. Surbhi, who has been associated with this program for last 2 years. I extend my thanks to Ansorta and its owner, Mr. Rajiv Ratan, for designing our application. Thanks to Mr. Mohit and his team from Betasaurus for helping us in this project. And last but not the least, my sincere thanks to our supporters who have extended their helping hand in many ways, including financial support. Thank you so much, friends, and see you next year.